Dear friends and fans of Baroque music and historical performance, the reason for me to make recording of solo pieces for viola da gamba and cello was quite curious. First of all, for the last 22 years I've been playing Bach suites on Baroque cello, and a few years ago Telemann fantasies for viola da gamba were found in Osnabrück. I think that these fantasies are really very important to understand the meaning of Bach suites, because we see that Telemann was a composer who had the same art of composition, the same ability of composing for bass string instruments. And I think that it's very interesting to compare Telemann fantasies and Bach suites. For many years, Telemann fantasies were thought to be lost. We had discussions in the former years with my colleagues. Some of them used to say, you know, Pavel, looks like that these fantasies just simply never existed. That was just a misunderstanding, some strange announcement in Hamburg newspaper, but possibly they were transposed pieces for traverse flute or for the violin. And then we were so happy, finally we were so happy that those fantasies were found. I decided to choose some of the fantasies that I really liked, but with my recording I tried to prove that, or to speculate, that some of the fantasies were originally composed for cello. I don't belong to this type of musician who is searching for the original of the transcription everywhere. Like nowadays it's very fashionable to take any of Bach piece and prove that it was originally composed for a different instrument, even if it could be like that. But with Telemann fantasies we can see a very big gap between 8 of them that were originally composed for viola da gamba, and I recorded them on viola da gamba, and 4 other pieces that were composed differently. The way of voice leading, the way of double stops, the way of chords in these fantasies is very different from the pieces that I thought to be composed for viola da gamba in original. You can ask me, why should Telemann publish pieces under the name viola di gamba but took the cello pieces? Of course, just Telemann can answer you. I can just speculate. I think the reason was that every 2 weeks Mr. Telemann had to engrave and to send the fantasies to the subscribers of the edition. And looks like that sometimes he didn't have enough time, and he had already composed some cello pieces in the same genre, in the genre of fantasy, a genre of a short sonata senza basso. And as far as he promised the people to send the pieces for viola da gamba, he took his earlier pieces for the cello and transposed them. So if you read them, you see that they are composed differently. So I decided to take 2 from those 4 pieces and to record them on the cello. So the reason was not to escape from the difficulties of playing viola da gamba, the difficulties of the gamba technique, but to show more the idiomatic writing for the cello that was so common to Telemann. There is another important argument why do I think that some pieces were composed for viola da gamba and some pieces were composed for cello. There is a basic difference between gamba and cello technique. You know that cello is tuned in fifths, with small exceptions of discordato, and gamba is tuned in fourths and thirds. That makes it possible to play a complete chord with 3 notes on the viol. On the cello, you can find just 2 chords that could be played in this type of very narrow voice leading. In all the other cases, the basic chord can be played with a wider voice leading, like and when you look very attentively at the way how Telemann composes the double chords and chords in his original gamba fantasies, you see that it's very, very much different from the 4 fantasies that I think to be composed for cello, because there you don't have these chords in this wide voice leading. So I think this is an argument that could be helpful. Of course, there can be just one provement of my expectation, of my version. That could be the original manuscript of Telemann, the manuscript of cello versions of gamba fantasies that could be found. I'm afraid we don't have hopes that it would be found, because Telemann archive disappeared. But who knows, maybe one day these pieces will come back to life. So now I give you a possibility to listen to my version of these pieces. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that with this version, those cellists who are not playing viola da gamba could play few of Telemann gamba pieces on the instruments. Of course, I insist on the fact that these pieces were originally composed for cello. And I have a plan to make those 4 fantasies available for everyone. So I hope it will be published soon. And you can listen to my recordings of this music at my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.